Hello, my spider friends. We're going to talk today about ableism again because, you know, it's not something that happens one-off, it's something that happens every day. And I would like to, spread some awareness, really, because I think a lot of people don't realise if they're being ableist, because it's very different to, say, racism or other forms of discrimination, because, as I've said before, it usually comes with a smile. And I just want to sort of share some of these stories because I know that other disabled people feel better when I do as well. So I've mentioned before I'm a Brownie Guide leader. I'm involved in guiding, and one of the social things that we do is guiding leaders in my division is that we sort of we'll meet up places for meals. Sometimes it's a breakfast, sometimes we're meeting for tea, sometimes it's oh, we're just going to go for ice cream, that kind of thing. And this particular story occurs on a breakfast meetup, and it was at this little farm shop / cafe that I'd never been to before. And usually when we book these things, there's a thing of, does anyone need accessibility? So I'd said, yeah, please can you make sure it's accessible, can't do stairs, blah, blah, blah. So they said, yeah, no problem. Stay the meetup. I was the first to arrive. I got a taxi there, and had a bit of look around and I saw the cafe and everything. And I went to the person who was seating people, and I said, "Oh, we've got a party booked for 9 o'clock under the name of so and so." Oh, and the lady said, "All right, okay, yeah, you're upstairs." And I was like, "What? We're upstairs?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, there's been a mistake then, because they were supposed to request downstairs seating for accessibility." And the lady said, "Oh no, we've got no room. We're going to have to put you upstairs." I said, "Right. Is there a toilet upstairs?" "No." "Right. Okay. And is there a lift?" "No." "Okay, so it's only upstairs. There's no toilet upstairs. I'd only brought my walking stick instead of my roller, which I'm supposed to use all the time. I'm not supposed to just use the stick because my hips get displaced. I can do a step, but I'm not supposed to do staircases at all because of how poor my knees are. But as a typical sort of disabled person thing, you don't want to be an inconvenience. So often I'll do stairs that I'm not supposed to do because there's no choice in the matter. But with there not being a toilet in the upstairs, and I need the toilet very frequently, I was like, this is just not going to work. I said, right, okay, I'll have to go then because I can't do stairs. I'm just going to send a text to let them know that I won't be here. And the lady was like, "Oh, do you really need to be downstairs?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm disabled, I can't go upstairs." She's like, "Oh, well, we thought it was just a request, not that you really needed it. You're going to have to wait half an hour so we can clear some tables." So even though we'd requested a downstairs table for accessibility needs, the cafe had decided that we probably actually didn't need to be downstairs. It was only a preference, and put us upstairs. And then we had to wait extra long, even though we'd booked a table, for them to free some tables downstairs so that I didn't have to leave. And it was really upsetting. It was really embarrassing. It was humiliating, because when the other leaders got there, and people who don't know me, because I knew some of them, but I didn't know all of them. Oh, what a fuss has to be made. Are you sure you can't do stairs? Because this is what happens all the time. I've got an event coming up where when it was booked originally, I was like, is it accessible? Is it accessible? And I was like, yeah, it is. And then they checked and they went, oh, actually, no, it isn't. But it's just a few steps. Can you manage? And the amount of times where I'm like, I force myself to do things I'm not supposed to do for the sake of other people, for the convenience of other people. So I said, look, we're booking this months in advance. I can't tell you how I'm going to be then. I cannot tell you if my legs are going to be in a state where I can do stairs without discomfort. So, like, it... Because the other thing is, as well, is if you say, well, I can do a step, then one step turns into a flight of steps. That's what happens. So I just had to put my foot down and say, no, I can't do it. I can't do it if it's just a couple of steps. Can't do it. And the person organising the trip later was like, oh, well, she can't come to this place because there's a step, because she was being, like, overtly facetious about my refusal to go to a place that wasn't accessible because I needed to have my roller with me. I need to have my roller with me. I can't manage with just a stick. And you get to made feel like if you're not willing to put yourself in pain, you are made to feel quite bad about yourself because you've slightly inconvenienced someone else by being disabled. Like, another time, there was a game shop that me and my friends used to go to very frequently. We were some of the first people to go to this place. We frequented it several times a week. We told other people about it. We started doing gaming there regularly, and there was a game night that we had set aside for playing, like, Dungeons and Dragons at the place, and we'd been playing this for several months, and then they started getting in more customers, and they started doing, like, a Magic the Gathering night on the night that we were doing our Dungeons and Dragons. And this wasn't a Friday, it wasn't Friday Night Magic, it was like a Tuesday. And we'd been doing this before they started the Magic night, and there'd never been a problem up until, like, this one point where we came in and all of the tables were occupied, and we were like, oh crap, what's going to happen? So we're talking to each other about, like, well, can we take this table that's not being used over here and, like, move it over there so we can do our, like, D&D night? And the store owners were like, oh no, we need this all for Magic, you're going to have to go upstairs. Which wasn't like a single, like, flight of stairs. It wasn't like 12 steps, it was like 20 steps. So again, I asked, is there a toilet upstairs? Because I need to go to the toilet frequently, and the toilets were downstairs. And they were like, no, there's no toilet upstairs. You're just going to have to, like, manage and go up and down the stairs. So we were all really upset by this because we'd been coming regularly on this night to the shop. We all spent, on average, like, not including the subs, because, like, after a certain time you were expected to pay, like, a small fee for using, like, the cafe. But we all would spend, like, £5 to £10 each at the shop on, like, things like coffees and teas and like, food and things. And there was the group of us was at minimum 5 and topped out at 9. So we felt, that we put a significant amount of money into the shop to have the respect of, like, they knew that we played on Tuesdays. Like, why couldn't we have a table like we normally did? So we were like, right, well, we're just going to have to go upstairs. So everyone grabbed all the stuff and everyone hiked it all upstairs, and then I was left to, like, I had a friend in front of me and a friend behind me, and I just was struggling so to get up these stairs. I just kept moving and moving, and I was clearly in a lot of pain, and my friends were really concerned that I was going to hurt myself. And I got halfway up this massive set of stairs, massive. And then the shop owners went, no, come back down, we're going to make a table for you. And it was like, wow, you're going to set aside a table for us? Now that the disabled person has been forced to go halfway up a gigantic set of stairs by you are now going to deign to give us a table? Thank you so much. So they moved some of their card players around and got us a table, and we sat down, and we were all just so knocked off by the whole thing. And it wasn't just, like, because of me. It wasn't just like they were annoyed on my behalf. that was more sort of the proverbial straw on the back of the camel. You know, we were annoyed because we felt very underappreciated regarding, you know, the length of time that we'd been customers, the amount of money that we spent as customers, like the other people that we had brought in as like new customers into the shop, and like they knew that we had our game night on this night when they started doing the magic, and they had, like, they could have done it upstairs because there was a lot of tables upstairs and there was no one who had mobility issues who'd come to the magic night. But we were made to feel really bad that like we'd have to like we'd taken up a table on the magic night, and we were like, we were coming here first, like, for months before this magic night started. This magic night was only on its like second or third week or something, and we just felt very annoyed with the shop. And it was not long after that we stopped going altogether, because we really felt like just not appreciated as customers, not respected as people. Particularly the fact that, like, I'd been forced to go up a set of stairs due to their unwillingness to accommodate us, and it was only once they'd seen how physically badly I was struggling that they caved and offered us a table. Like, I'm so used to being dismissed. Like, before I was aware of my spinal arthritis, it was still there. Like, I think this is something like taken for granted as well. Like, people who don't have a diagnosis for complex pain problems or complex health issues, because they don't have a diagnosis, they're not seen as like actually having a problem. So all I knew was that I had a very bad back, and I didn't know that I had spinal arthritis. So I'd been referred by the DWP to this employment group. And when I'd gone to this employment place, they'd said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, I've just done my level 4. Level 4 is just below degree. I've just done my level 4 training qualification, so I can train people to do anything that I'm qualified in. So I'm qualified in several different areas, such as customer service, food hygiene, computer literacy. I can, like, I've got the qualifications so that I can legally teach people, adults, not children, how to do things that I myself am qualified in." I said, so I'd like to get into training. And that's one of the things that they did at this employment place, was they did training and stuff. So I was like, maybe I could do something here. And they were like, "No, we've got no openings." I was like, "Would you do retail?" And I was like, I don't want to do retail. Well, like, "Well, you've got to be willing to do it." I was like, "Well, fine, I'm willing to do it, but it's not what I want to do." They were like, "All right, okay, so we'll get you some retail." And I was like, "Fine, just don't listen to me." So, like, I'd gone in, and my advisor had said to me, "Right, there's a warehouse job come up for the pound shop. It's heavy lifting and stuff." And I was like, "All right, I can't do heavy lifting." And the woman was like, "What do you mean you can't do heavy lifting?" I was like, I can't do it. I've got a bad back. I can't do heavy lifting." And she looked around and she pointed to one of those, like, you get them in offices, like a big box that's just full of printer paper. It's like about that big, so maybe like 5 reams or so of A4 paper. And she went, "Right, well, could you lift that?" And I said, "Not really, no, I'd struggle to lift that." She looked at me and she went, "Well, how do you expect to have a career in retail?" I said, "I don't want a career in retail. I want to be training people. I want to do other things." She's like, "Well, I'm just going to have to report that you're just not willing to put the effort in to find a job." Like, this is before I knew that I had spinal arthritis. But I just knew that I had a really, like, a bad back. And the expectations put on you are just ridiculous. Like you're lazy and you're not trying hard enough if you can't lift something very heavy when you've got a bad back. Oh, not a person. Not, oh, you've got an actual disability. You've got some serious healthcare needs. Perhaps we shouldn't force you to do a physically demanding job when you're saying that you can't do a physically demanding job. Maybe, you know. No, not the way that the DWP works, I'm afraid. In this country, DWP, the Department of Work and Pensions, the Job Centre, as they are so affectionately known in this country. So yeah, those are some stories from my life, really, where I've sort of been put in bad positions by people who did not realise that they were being ableist. And I'm sure it's happened to many, many other people. So please, you know, share your stories with me in the comments. I'd love to hear them, particularly from like other disabled people. But if you know someone who's disabled and you've seen something happen to them, I'd also like to hear about it as well. Because it's a very common problem, and I think that like there's not just not enough awareness about it in general.